welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to talk about a film I've never seen before. It was a first time watch for me, but this came back out in 2016. I've heard good things over the years from different people that I know in my life, and I finally sat down and watched this movie. But before we get into this one, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe. I greatly would appreciate that. And also, as always, a shameless plug for my TeePublic store. I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. And like I said, we're going to go back to 2016 for The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I've always heard good things about this. I finally sat down and watched it tonight. I've had this Blu-ray for a little while. And let's get into this. This came out back in 2016. It's rated R. It's an hour and 26 minutes long. I'm not going to say director's name because I'm going to butcher the hell out of it, but he directed Troll Hunter and The Last Voyage of Demeter. And he just had that movie Passenger out back in the springtime. In this film, we got Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch. They're a father-son team that run their morgue attendants. His father's been doing it for a while. Emile Hirsch has been studying under him and assisting him, but he has plans to get out that he hasn't told his dad about yet. Him and his girlfriend, we got a brief scene of him and his girlfriend, and she asked him if he told his father yet, and he did not. But basically what this movie is, this movie basically takes place in one location, in the morgue, in the basement of this old house in the country. And this body comes in from this crime scene that was found buried, and the police officer wants to know by morning what's the cause of death. And once this body comes in and once they start cutting into it and finding weirder and weirder things, the more weirder and weirder stuff starts happening around this morgue. In the basement of this house, there's a storm going on outside. The lights start flickering. The radio starts acting weird. They start hearing noises. And as they dive in deeper, they're finding these symbols on the underside of her skin and all this kind of stuff. Again, weirder and more creepy things start to happen. And I got to give the movie credit. It takes its time. It's only an hour and like 24 minutes long, but it takes its time to build the suspense. And as the movie goes on, it gets crazier and crazier, and finally, basically at the end, Emile Hirsch is dead, Brian Cox has passed away, and Emile Hirsch's girlfriend's dead. And the cops find this crazy scene in this morgue with no explanation what could have happened, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. Now, obviously, Brian Cox is awesome, and he's great here. Emile Hirsch is great here. They have really good chemistry together as a father and son, and they are on screen through most of this film. There's three main characters of this film: Brian Cox, Emile Hirsch, and the corpse, Jane Doe, that comes in. Those are the three bodies or people that are on screen through 99.99% of this movie. We see the sheriff a couple times, but in brief scenes, and Emile Hirsch's girlfriend a little bit, and that's it. So it's a very contained horror movie. And I like the peeling back the layers of what could have possibly happened to this woman, this young woman. But also to the realization that she's also the cause of what's going on and what's going on to them. And it kind of delves into, as movies have been out since 2016, so I'm going to spoil the crap out of this. As they find out more and more, they think that she is a witch. And the damage they're inflicting on her, she's trying to inflict on them. And we see this in a scene right towards the end when Brian Cox whispers in this dead body's ear, I'm open, you can do whatever you want to me, but please don't hurt my son. And everything that happened to this Jane Doe starts happening to Brian Cox. And Emile Hirsch puts him out of his misery by stabbing him in the chest with a knife. And Emile Hirsch gets killed as well. So it's pretty much comes full circle. They end up getting killed anyway, even though we have a glimmer of hope that Emile Hirsch's character is going to get out, and then he ends up getting killed as well. He thinks his father's going to attack him. He falls backwards down and hits the concrete floor below and basically breaks his back and his neck. I think this is a really good, solid horror film. It ratchets up the suspense, old school style, nothing too flashy here. I mean, we do get some gore in terms of the body and them doing the autopsy on her, cutting her open, and it's really well done, I must say. And so there is some gore in that respect. But for the most part, this is like an old school suspenseful horror film where we start just adding in layers of suspense until we get to the climax where things go crazy, and then we have our finale. And I appreciate that. It's definitely an old school style horror film, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I wouldn't say it's perfect. There was a few little things that bugged me, but overall I thought this was a really solid, obviously a lower budgeted horror film, a self-contained horror film. Again, this takes place 99.5% in this morgue, and that's it. We see a little bit outside. We see Brian Cox going outside to smoke a cigarette, and that's about it. We don't really get anywhere else but in this basement, and they definitely use it for maximum impact. So at the end of the day, I would give the Autopsy of Jane Doe, I would give this one an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10 for the Autopsy of Jane Doe. Have you ever seen this one? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share this video. I greatly would appreciate that. That is it for this one, but until next time, bye.